Oh no, I see green.
Always a great idea to put your mouth on old rusted 1966 Jeep fuel line. Back everyone to the channel. What's happening? I'm tearing into the Jeep today. I've already had quite a bit of day working on this thing. Just cleaning up the valve covers, cleaning up the carburetor actually. I've been taking chunks off of it basically because there's just so much grease and built up dirt all over it. This is how she's looking right now. Apparently there's a large community around these, you know, especially because they're on such a popular engine base. The Dauntless, otherwise known as the Fireball for Pontiacs, cleaning up the rockers, and there was so much like gunk. There still is in there. It's like clay basically, just inside of these holes. And I don't know why it's building up there, but better there than in other parts of the engine. There's a little bit of rust here too, because as I was pressure washing the engine, water got in through one of the cracked oil seals for the breather tubes and stuff like that. And, you know, it happens. I'm not super worried about it. You know, I could always take them apart and polish them later when I go through the engine again. Probably going to end up doing somewhat of a rebuild on this thing eventually. But yeah, that's the state of parts right now. Things like this cylinder head, I actually sanded this a little bit with some 400 grit sandpaper, and a whole bunch of gunk just came off of this head. It's made a pretty big transformation for what it is now, you know, and that as well as manifolds have both made pretty big transformations. There's still some crap in there. This is just like crazy little spots where stuff doesn't want to come out of. But yeah, it's made a pretty good transformation. I'm happy to see the progress that has been made off of it. Happy to see that there's also no rust building up under here, and that I've managed to relatively water free even after putting it in my degreaser tank. So that's cool to see. All right, taking the heater box off so I can get the other head off today. And cool. Can't say I didn't expect it, but yep. Maybe that's why the heater was all not working. Goodness gracious. So I actually ended up taking the other side of the heater core apart, and this is kind of what it looks like right now. We have kind of that turbine housing thing, and then the actual turbine or impeller itself right here. And the reason that there's water on it is because I sprayed it with some instant detailer. Quick desperate attempt to get some of that smell just off of the material itself. And I know probably won't do a fantastic job, but smelling like cinnamon and rat poop is better than smelling like rat poop. So just doing what I can, you know. Cleaning this stinky boy. So stinky. All right. Just got done polishing the turd, and that there is a clean heater box, I would say, for sure. So we're gonna go ahead and slap this puppy back on. It's just a couple of 11mm bolts. Making the standard guys cry again. On this here doggone Jeep. I tell you what. So these couple of pistons over here, or I should say a few pistons over here, just got cleaned up. I got cleaned up just a little bit, so that's nice. And we've got a grandma over there. So what I'm going to be doing next is hitting it with some of this Seafoam Deep Creep, which is a great carbon remover. And I'm going to hit each one of these cylinders over here, do the same thing, and use a steel wire brush to scrub it off. And just like that, they are now clean with the magic of YouTube. Torque wrench over there, kind of spinning things over and making sure all the bores are clean now. I ended up getting the fuel tank and the driver's seat back in because I think everything under the dashboard that I wanted to do is now done. It's set, and I was thinking about whether or not I could save these steel head gaskets, but you know, upon further inspection, there is, in places like here, there's like holes rusted through them. This is especially bad, and I just don't think it's really worth it. So I went ahead and ordered some new head gaskets too, and those are on the way. along with cleaning those pistons, the other head is now in the degreaser tank. I'm gonna let that sit for 24 hours or so, and then I should be able to come back to it and just scrape all that grease off. It's incredible how much grease gets caked on this. Pretty horrible, like all over the engine. Buick, it's a Buick thing. Project's not looking too bad right now. You know, after we get the starter in, a couple of gaskets, this thing should be close to running. And now I'm under the Jeep. So actually what I'm going to be doing right now is taking this fuel line right here. I'm gonna hook up the air compressor nozzle up to the end in the engine bay and spray out what the heck ever is in this line. If there's anything, if chunks don't come out, I'll be happy. That'll be a good thing. But maybe interesting to see what chunks do come out of this, if anything. Yoink that little boy off. Always a great idea to put your mouth on old rusted 1966 Jeep fuel line. Nice and clear. Needs salt. And then yoink off boy number 2. Here we go. Officially yoinked. Man, it's my lucky day. I don't have to use the air compressor, and I won't have to get another tetanus shot today. Okay, maybe you do have to use the air compressor. Oh my good. John Lennon's death in the Bermuda Triangle, and the real cure, and the meaning of life. After blowing out those fuel lines, I'm glad to see no chunks coming out of it, and I'm also glad to hear air coming out of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a different fuel line on those 3 connection points. So there's one at the fuel tank going to the steel line, and then there's one from the steel line, and there's an input into the fuel filter and then an output out of the fuel filter. Probably gonna clean out the fuel filter as well with some kerosene or some old gasoline. Good news, boys, this looks like a brand new Fram filter, so I don't even think I need to worry about cleaning it. Looks like someone's already been messing with the fuel system since this thing's been touched last, so that's nice to see. I never mentioned this, but the gas tank has actually been lined, and there's no leaks in it anywhere. If in the process of lining there were holes that have been plugged up, but it's nice to see that there has been lining in it, so I won't have to worry about rust or the lack of gasoline in the tank. So that's always good to see. A couple of fresh lines on there, looking good, looking good. Now I'm gonna replace this elbow that goes from the fuel tank to the main fuel line down there. Alright, and the new line is on, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and put some gas in this gas tank and see if there's any leaks going on or if there's anything else I need to check out. Some gas in the tank. Everything's looking good on the floor still. That spot right there is just a little bit of antifreeze. And a quick tip for you guys, some faded chrome parts like this, just some 4/0 steel wool will really start to bring that shine back a little bit. And boom. You real OGs will know I use this stuff a bunch on the RT build when I was restoring that thing, because there's a bunch of chrome on that bike, and this baby shined right up, especially places like on the headlight here. She's a little dusty right now from sitting, but she's a beaut. So. And just like that, we went from this old faded crusty headlight rim to this brand new looking chrome rim around this headlight. Man, I swear, if you could sell these things, I would be a rich man, because I just took the cover off of this grill, and yet again, there was another giant mouse nest in there. So, definitely glad I did that. Ugh. So back to the brakes, since I can't get those hubs off, I've gone back, and great idea to try the easiest thing first. So what I did is I opened this access panel, and I'm going to fill up the brake fluid slave cylinder with some brake fluid and see if that helps my brake problem. So I added the rest of the brake fluid that I had in that bottle, and when I started pressing the pedal, I heard something, and I just want you guys to hear this. I think that's all air bubbles coming out of the system. It's starting to get a little bit stiffer already, I think. Just topped off the reservoir with some more fluid, thanks to my buddy Pat, and I'm just sitting here pumping and waiting and hoping for something to happen. And just like that, oh, wait, never mind, hold up. And now we're building pressure again. Something is definitely up with this. So I went to check the fluid level, see if it had gone down, and that is some disgusting brake fluid. As you can see, there's still bubbles coming out, which is definitely a great thing. And the first time I pressed on it, some bubbles came out, and boom, even more bubbles coming out. So I think there's still plenty of air that needs to come out of the system. Oh, look at that, big bubble. If you let it sit for a bit, feel like it doesn't have pressure anymore. So, but sometimes it does, like right off the bat. Like if you pump it, you'll get pressure again. First thing I'm gonna do is pull off this oil pan. I'm gonna start by draining out the oil so I don't have to worry about it spilling out the sides and such.
Get ready to see the oh no, I see green. That's a little off-putting. Oh boy. Ooh, baby. That is some special looking engine fluid. I guess there's no other way to describe it. Pitch black.